Thank you, Soul Notes Band, and good morning. Welcome to our virtual service of the Unity Center here in San Diego. My name is Wendy Craig-Purcell, and I am the minister here. Every Sunday morning, we are blessed with the beautiful music of our Soul Notes Band, visiting guest artists. Andy Anderson will be with us today, and our music director, Janet Hammer. If you live in the San Diego area, once we're able to have you back in our community, we hope you'll come and pay us a visit. I think you'll love the experience that we co-create together. So though we are physically distant, we are still very much connected. And I invite you to step into this experience together this morning as we begin with the striking and the playing of our antique Tibetan singing bowls. And allow these sounds just to help you center in and relax. Namaste. Let us join together in prayer. Closing our eyes, we open our minds and our hearts to this shared experience together this morning. Let this be a time that we are open and receptive to deeper understandings, new ideas, new hope, and new inspiration. Let this be a time of something new emerging in and through us, in the midst of all that is going on around us. Let the good that is within find expression through us and beyond us. May we be pulled by an image, a vision of all that is possible for us individually and collectively. And so together let us set the intention that each of us tuning in this morning or listening later on today will hear something or remember something, whether through the spoken word or in meditation or in a lyric in one of our songs, that we will hear something or remember something that will inspire us and lift us up and encourage us to move forward with ease and grace and in faith. And so we begin, and so it is. Amen and amen. Thank you, Janet and Andy and Soul Notes Band. I've always loved that song, Yahweh. To me, it embodies a very core teaching in unity. That core teaching is our belief that there is one God, but many paths to that one God. No one right way. And what's important is that we find a path and a community that speaks to our mind, our heart, and our soul. We have been exploring together some ideas that will help us get to the other side of the storm. And when I first put this series together, I really thought that we would be post-COVID already, but we're not. However, these ideas that help us move to the other side of the storm really apply to any significant change that we are experiencing in our lives. And certainly we are experiencing many today as a result of the virus and as a result of all of the racial unrest in our country. So here are some readings that I have for you this morning, but before we jump into those, I have got to wish all of the dads a very, very, very happy Father's Day. Whether you are a dad, a brand new dad, or a dad-to-be, or a grandpa, or a stepdad, very happy Father's Day to you. God bless. So here are some of the readings for this morning's message. The first is from Carl Jung. The creation of something new is not accomplished by the intellect, but by the play instinct. When I think of the play instinct, I think of curiosity and of openness and of spontaneity. And so much of creativity is dependent upon that way of being. Here's one from Antonio Gramsci. The old world is dying, and the new world struggles to be born. Now is the time of monsters. The old world is dying, and the new world struggles to be born. And I think we're seeing that in many, many ways during these times that we're living through together. Here's one from Eckhart Tolle. The power for creating a better future is contained in the present moment. You create a good future by creating a good present. Here's one from Saeed Balkhi. Happiness is the new rich. Inner peace is the new success. Health is the new wealth. And kindness is the new cool. I like that. This one is from Jonathan Swift. Vision is the art of seeing what is invisible to others. Seeing what is invisible to others. From Patrick Dixon, all the most powerful speeches point to a better future. I really thought about that when I first found that statement, of how true that really is. If I think about the speeches I've heard, whether from political leaders or great humanitarians or in commencement addresses, they always point to a better and a brighter future. We change culture, I think, through conversation. This one is from Gandhi. The future depends on what you do today. And this last one, I don't know to whom to attribute it, but I liked it. Be like the lotus. Trust in the light. Grow through the dirt. Believe in new beginnings. Be like the lotus. Trust in the light. Grow in the dirt. And believe in new beginnings. The theme this morning in this series on the other side of the storm is about the new and the emergent. The new and the emergent. We're going to move into a time of prayer and meditation together now as a way to help us really open up and into a greater understanding of the divine presence within us and a greater willingness to follow our inner intuition, that divine guidance. So I invite you to go ahead and find a comfortable position. It's always helpful to sit with your back nice and straight and your legs uncrossed, letting your hands rest comfortably in your lap. The practice that we do here at the Unity Center is a very simple one. It's the practice of mindful breathing, keeping our attention focused in a steady, not forced, but in a steady way on each breath, on the breath in and on the breath out. And we attempt to keep our attention focused on our breathing throughout our entire experience of meditation, whether there's beautiful music in the background whether we're focusing on the heart or we're focusing on holding a positive feeling, all the while being present to and with the breath. So go ahead, if you haven't already closed your eyes, do so. And let's begin with 3 very conscious breaths in and out, aware of the air filling our lungs. And as we let that breath go, really practice feeling a sense of letting go and release. And again, a deep and mindful breath in. And as you let that breath go, practice being present right where you are. And again, a deep and mindful breath in and out. Practicing being open, spacious. Continue to be with the breath, just noticing without judging. The breath in, the breath out, the breath in, the breath out. And in a moment, as the beautiful sounds of Om Mani Padme Om, the chant, begin to fill your ears, allow yourself to still stay present to each breath, as if there's not a care in the world, and right now, wherever you are all right. Breathing in and breathing out. Letting go, being present, and opening up. Allow yourself to move yet deeper into a time of stillness and quiet. continuing to be aware of each mindful breath in and each breath out. A steady and gentle awareness on the breath. As if each mindful breath helps you to move more toward the very center of your being. And as you do, allow your attention to move to the area of the heart, the center of your chest. Imagining that each mindful breath is moving in and through the heart space, the heart chakra. And so often when we think of the heart and we think of an emotion associated with it, we think of emotions of love and compassion. As you continue to be aware of your breath with your attention focused in the area of the heart, practice holding a positive, uplifting, healing emotion. Perhaps it is something you would like to experience more of yourself personally. Or perhaps it is something that you long to see manifest in the world around you. Knowing the power of the collective spirit, the power of consciousness. For the next few minutes, let us practice together, mindfully aware of the breath, attention focused in the area of the heart, and practicing an uplifting and healing emotion. In the silence, in the silence. And so it is. Amen and amen. If you're sitting with somebody near you, go ahead and take a moment to greet them with the salutation, Namaste. The divine in me recognizes and sees that in you. Namaste. Namaste. The piece of music that we've selected for you this morning is a piece written by Daniel Nahmad, and it's one of my favorite Daniel Nahmad songs. The name of it is Everything New. I invite you to really listen into the lyrics and see where they apply to you today. Everything New. Randy, thank you, Soul Notes Band. And thank you, Daniel Nahmad, for Everything New. So, the new and emergent. The new and emergent. Life post-COVID will eventually get there. We'll get to a place where we are moving through the challenges and these unprecedented times that we are living through. But what is it going to look like on the other side? And that's very much up to us and how we hold this now and what we do about this now. There was a middle-aged woman who had a sudden heart attack and was taken to the emergency room. And while she was there, she had a near-death experience, and she came face to face with God. And she asked God, is this my time? Is this it? And God said, no, you've got another 30, 40 years. You'll be fine. And so she's recovered in the hospital, and while she's there, she thinks, well, I might as well take advantage of this. I've got another 30 to 40 years left to live. Let me have a facelift. Let me do some breast augmentation. Let me have a tummy tuck and liposuction. The whole works. So she's there for quite a while, has the whole works done. She leaves the hospital looking fabulous, and no sooner does she leave the hospital than she gets hit by an ambulance. And she comes face to face again with God and says, but I thought you told me I had 30, 40 years left to live. God says, I'm so sorry. I didn't recognize you. I didn't recognize you. I like that because I want us to be unrecognizable as we move forward and as we learn from the experiences that we're having today, that we will be unrecognizable to our former selves, that we will have changed so much, we will have grown, we will have transformed ourselves individually, and most importantly, that we will truly be about transforming this country, that we will bring forth a time of true racial equality, and that we will bring forth a time on our planet where we live as if we are a human family and not in competition with each other as a human race. So let me ask you, who do you want to be now? Who do we want to be now? This is a kind of question I think we ask during times of significant change. And significant change sometimes doesn't feel at all good, does it? We may feel confused, we may feel frightened, we may feel alone. But times like these are times that we can begin to really go deeper inside of ourselves, to really ask those deeper questions. Who do I want to be now? What kind of world do I want to co-create now? A Unity friend and ministerial colleague of mine by the name of Reverend Kevin Ross, he's a Unity minister in Sacramento. I recently heard him speak to the idea that we do not need theology as much as beology right now. And I like that play on words, and I think it points to something important about what it's going to take to bring forth something dramatically and radically new and different individually and collectively. That it is no longer just about what we say we believe about God or spirit or any of those things, but it's about how are we actually living? How are we actually being? Who is actually showing up in the midst of these times and these circumstances? We need to start with a mind that is clear and quiet. We need to start with a mind that is clear and quiet and willing to be guided by what's possible. A mind that is clear and quiet and willing to be guided by what is possible. If we don't allow ourselves the time and the space to be quiet, to be reflective, to think more deeply, to ponder more deeply, if we live in just an agitated, busy mind, a mind that is so distracted with so much that is external, we will never be able to touch that deeper wisdom within us, that deeper possibility within us. If you're a parent or just a Disney lover, you may remember the movie Aladdin, right? And that song, I think it's his theme song, A Whole New World, and Aladdin comes riding on a magic carpet and takes Princess Jasmine out to see, I wish I could sing, I can't, a whole new world, trying to expose her to something beyond what she has known. Hold that for a moment. The idea of being exposed to, opening your mind wider to something beyond what you have known before, beyond what you have seen before. One of the most powerful lines in the Old Testament is the line that says, "Where there is no vision, the people perish." We need to be able to see in our mind's eye what it is that we want to create. This is metaphysics 101. Everything is created twice. First in the mind, as an idea, as a possibility, as a vision, as an image, before it can ever be manifest out in the physical world. But if our mind is so agitated, if it's playing only on the surface of effects or of changing circumstances or the chaos and the fear and the confusion we see around us, we will never be able to be in the space of holding that higher thought, that higher possibility, that higher vision. And we need that desperately now, desperately. The pandemic has forced all of us to revision every aspect of our lives. We've been forced to revision our workplaces, and we still don't have it completely figured out, do we? Think about how restaurants look so different now than they did on March 1st, trying to revision, reimagine, rethink, re-engineer our workplaces, our home life, moving our work, if we're blessed enough to do so, into our homes, juggling and jostling around what it might mean to have to work from home and still be there for our children who need us because they're working school online. We've had to re-engineer our social life. Our social life, it's very different now, isn't it, than it was just a few months ago. Trying to maintain some sort of connection. I don't know how it is for you, but when I'm out and grocery shopping and wearing my mask, I feel like I want to have a sign or something that says, "I am smiling at you beneath this mask." Or now when some of the social distancing or physical distancing rules are a little bit looser than they were before, there might be a neighbor or a friend who comes to my house to bring me something. They're wearing their mask, I'm wearing my mask, and all I want to do is be able to greet them as I ordinarily would with a hug. And I bet you can relate to that as well. So we've been forced to reimagine and rethink and readjust. Academic life is not what it was, and it may be a long time before whatever the new norm is really established. So we are being forced in ways we've never, ever experienced, and globally, to rethink so many things. The protests that we are seeing in our country against racial injustice that has been present for hundreds of years, these protests are forcing us to look at the very real racial inequities that are existent in our country and are held in place through structures and systems designed to do that very thing. But in this uprising of protesting, peaceful protesting that's saying this is not right, as more and more voices are joining that chorus saying this is not right, we have to stand up for this, and we have to work together to change things, We are being forced into a place to envision what that might look like. I was on a Zoom gathering with some of our Black members and white allies, a group that we've been working with for the last 3 years called our Brave Conversations, and our white allies work on our Brave Conversations team. And we were watching together the Blackish episode of Juneteenth that aired a number of years ago with a deep and enriching dialogue that followed. And one of our members who was participating said, wouldn't it be amazing if we could revision what the 4th of July means in our country? Yes, still celebrate the 4th of July, but what if we started as a season beginning with Juneteenth, when freedom was finally at least attempted to be offered to our enslaved population? What if we had a season of freedom where we really work together toward making the 4th of July really mean something, because we dealt with the inequities of racism in our country as we all woke up to the realities and waking up. Think about it. If you wake up to an alarm clock in the morning, I do, and I wake up pretty early. It's not a very pleasant experience for me oftentimes when that alarm clock goes off. It's as if, it's as if there's an alarm clock going off in our world today. An alarm clock that has been rung because of the pandemic, saying we need to find different and better ways of working together to create health for one another and systems that support health and justice around that. But we also have to start looking at each other differently. And we have to be willing to do the deep and often uncomfortable work of saying, well, what are the systems that have held this in place? And that, like the alarm clock going off in the morning, can be abrupt, and we can feel groggy coming out of it and maybe a little annoyed and irritated. But if that's what it takes for us to wake up and to co-create the kind of world we've held as a vision of possibility and new thought ever since our inception, if that's what it takes, then so be it. The new and emergent, bringing forth the new and emergent requires letting go of the known and familiar to embrace something that is uncertain and unpredictable. Uncertain and unpredictable. I remember Lynn Twist, the humanitarian, sharing in a gathering or a conference the idea that we must be willing to hospice the old and midwife the new. It's kind of like the recognition that that birth is messy and dangerous. Think about it. If you've ever been witness to a live birth, you know that it's quite messy and it can be extremely dangerous. But in order to bring forth new life, sometimes it looks like that. Sometimes it is messy, and sometimes it feels uncomfortable. But on the other side of that can be something so precious, so beautiful, so truly miraculous. I think about our master teacher, Jesus the Christ, and I think about before he began his teaching ministry, he called together students, he called together his disciples. And if you remember anything of the calling of those disciples, you will remember that he called them out of work that was very different than the kind of work he was going to put before them. They were fishers, primarily, fishermen. And here he was calling them into a radically new way of thinking and being and living in that world at that time. He said, I will make you fishers of men. We are being called out right now. You and I are being called out right now. I think especially so those of us who are on any sort of spiritual path, those of us who are involved in any sort of faith tradition, those of us who consider ourselves to be conscious people, to be spiritual more than religious, we are being called out. Just as Jesus called his disciples out of the comfort of the life that they had known into something radically different, we are being called out to show up in a different way. He forever was saying to them things like, you have heard it said of old, do this, this, and this, but I say to you, the new requires something more. The new requires something more. It goes back to this idea that it is far less about a theology and is everything about a beology. Who are we being? How are we being? What are we standing for? Who are we standing alongside? Bringing forth the new and emergent will require deep and abiding faith in the vision of what is possible and in each other. To bring forth something radically new and different is going to require that we have a deep and abiding faith, because the journey is going to take a while. It's not going to happen like that. Systemic change doesn't happen overnight, although the pace of it is quickening right now. I do believe that. But we're also going to have to believe in each other and trust each other. I heard this African proverb some time ago, and I was really moved by it. The idea is, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, you have to go together. We have to do this work together. When Jesus sent his disciples out to carry forward his teaching, which was a radical teaching at that time, he did not send them out individually. He was a master of psychology, of human nature, of social change. I believe he knew that if he sent them out one by one, they would easily be discouraged. He sent them out by two, so that they could support each other and hold each other up in doing the hard and difficult work. We build that faith, I think, through prayer. Our prayer practice must be solid at this time. Yes, we need to pray and move our feet, but it's both and. It's not either or, it's both and. I read of a story of a small Texas town where there was a business that was getting ready to open up a new tavern in town. And it just so happened that that tavern was going to be rather close to the local Baptist church. And the church didn't like that too well, didn't want a tavern kind of down the street. And so they started to petition against it and did everything that they could to protest this tavern going up. But they were not successful in stopping it. And just right before the opening day of the tavern, lightning struck the tavern and it burnt to the ground. The congregation was rather smug, feeling like, oh, okay, well, maybe their prayers and everything kind of worked. They were kind of smug. That is until the owner of the tavern decided to sue the church on the grounds that the church was responsible for the lightning strike. Whether directly or indirectly, the church was responsible for the destruction of the tavern. Well, the congregation said, no way, this is not our fault. Let me read to you what the judge had to say about that. As the case made its way into court, the judge looked over the paperwork, and at the hearing he commented, I don't know how I'm going to decide this, but it appears from the paperwork that we have a bar owner who believes in the power of prayer and an entire church congregation that doesn't. We need to be solid in our prayer work. Unity offers a beautiful approach to prayer. It is called affirmative prayer. A beautiful approach to prayer that speaks to and holds to the truth of that which is possible in the infinite mind of God, and speaks from the awareness of that connection with the infinite mind of God to bring forth into physical form that which is desired. We must affirm in our minds, in our hearts, in our prayers, the very world we want. For ourselves individually, whatever changes we are needing and wanting to make in our lives because we're reinventing ourselves during this pandemic, or whether it is for our entire world and our human family. A new and emergent world will require that each one of us be willing to step in and up with a willing spirit. Require that each one of us is willing to step up and in with the willing spirit. I encourage you to keep in your prayer work and your meditation time, and to stay vigilant not only in affirming and seeing in your mind's eye the kind of world that you want to live in. But that you also keep asking, as I know I am, and what is my part to play in this? What is the deep inner work that I need to do? What do I need to clear up? Am I racist in ways I never thought I was? Am I willing to do that uncomfortable work of exploring and understanding? To deeply ask, what is my next step? And to be willing to step into that, knowing that I can't do it all. No one person can do it all, but every single one of us can do something. Can do something. I want to share a few words as I begin to close with you from a great little book called The Quiet Mind. It's by White Eagle. It may comfort you to know that every one of you who undergoes some experience involving pain and anguish, and which might be described as a crucifixion, is doing something for the whole world. For anyone who meets such testings of the soul in the same resolute and tranquil spirit, in however small degree, as did the Master Jesus, is helping to quicken the vibrations of the whole earth. Think about that for a moment. The idea that however we are individually managing through this time of pain, this time of challenge, however we are managing through and somehow rising above and doing something to make it all better, that we are helping to shift and lift the very vibration of the planet itself, the very vibration of the planet itself. And so in closing, let me share with you again one of the quotes I read earlier. Be like the lotus. Trust in the light, grow through the dirt, and always believe in new beginnings. Namaste. And so we come now to the time in our service where I'd like to share with you some information and some updates about activities that are taking place virtually through the Unity Center. I do encourage you to like our Facebook page, follow the Facebook page so you get notifications of activities that are happening here. We also offer a Unity Center app that you can download. It's free. You can download it wherever you download your apps. And on that, you will have lots of resources and a great way to stay connected with what's new and emerging here at the Unity Center. But here are a couple of the things I'd like you to know about in particular. This Wednesday evening, we will offer a virtual meditation with David Stanley. It's at 7 o'clock on Wednesday. You can register on our website, on the app, or through Facebook, and a link will be sent to you when you do register. On Thursday afternoon at noontime, we will be offering centering prayer with prayer chaplain Kim Kennedy. You can register again on our website, the app, or through the Facebook page, and you'll also be getting a link when you do register. This Thursday is a very important event for the Unity Center and the anti-racism work that we have been doing for the past 3 years. We are going to be offering a free workshop. The title of it is Dismantling Racism, First Steps Toward Action. It's a virtual conference. It's on Thursday at 10 o'clock. Based on the anti-racism work that we have been doing, this program will present an overview of the 3 key areas of our work, which have been raising racial awareness, increasing racial literacy, and taking action toward creating systemic change. You do need to register on the website, the app, or our Facebook page, and we'll be sending you the private link for that. Member of the Unity Center, Peter Boland, is going to be offering a workshop, a virtual workshop. We are co-supporting this with Oasis, where he is offering the class. The title of it is Dismantling Racism, One Insight at a Time, and that will be on June 30th at 10 o'clock. And you can register again through any of our usual channels through the Unity Center. And just as a reminder, we have an outstanding discussion group that meets every Sunday at 11:30 to discuss the lesson. It's a great way to go a little deeper into your experience of the lesson and to especially have the opportunity to connect with people of like mind and like heart. So you'll want to go to the website or Facebook to register and to get that link. So those are all of the announcements that I wanted to share with you this morning. Please do stay connected with us. If you have questions, you can either email the office or call the office, and we will respond as best we can to those questions. If you have prayer requests, feel free to send them in. And please do know how very, very much appreciated your ongoing steady financial support of the Unity Center is. Even though we are not in this building offering all of the programs the way we have in the past in this building, we are continuing to provide outstanding spiritual services virtually and online, and that's what your support helps to make happen. If you've never given before, maybe you've just tuned into our broadcast, please consider making a donation today. You can do it easily on our app, and we hope that you will. And so I want to invite you right now to imagine that you are holding that gift in your hand as we get ready to bless our offering with this statement. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And together and softly, divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Amen.
Changes everywhere I've been. I've been stuck in a rut. I've been caught up. Yeah, it happened fast. I'm moving to where I wanna begin again. I wanna find new life and see new eyes and breathe again. I'm gonna stop now, take a breath. It's all so crazy. Ready to let go. Getting ready to don't know. Forget about yesterday and get away and live in the right now. Yeah, I'm ready to let go. Looking forward to don't know. Anywhere the road bends, where it ends, I don't know. Let go. Oh, we live in the future, and we've got our regrets, yeah. 'Cause we don't live and we don't get into the present tense. It's hectic in my mind, gonna leave it behind. I'm ready to let go, looking forward to don't know. Forget about yesterday and get away and live in the right now. So I'm ready to let go, and I'm ready to follow. Anywhere the road ends, where it ends, I don't know. Overthink it, don't wanna worry so much. Gonna live my life and never lose touch. yesterday and get away and live in the right now.
Right now.
Let go. I'm ready to follow. Oh, anywhere the road bends, where it ends, I don't know. Yeah, let go.
Thank you, Andy Anderson and
you,
Janet
Wendy.
Hammer and Soul Notes Stand. We're
So
going to
nice to see you.
It's good to see you too. We're going to close out with our prayer of protection, so please join me. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, wherever we go, God is and all is well. See you next Sunday. Namaste.